Yeah, just really excited. It was nice to get a win last night. Feeling good heading into the Beanpot after a big win. Excited for our guys to get back. I know our freshmen who missed it last year, that was tough. Um, and our seniors getting the opportunity to play in it again. And we're just really excited about the opportunity to play at the Garden and play a good BC team Monday night.
Richard, go ahead. First question.
Hey, Coach, this is Rich Thompson from the Boston Herald. The Beanpot's often been described as the gateway to March Madness. Have you, in your experience, seen the team that wins the Beanpot get a huge bounce in the stretch run into the Hockey East tournament?
Oh, it definitely can. Yeah. I mean, whenever you're playing for a trophy in a tournament, it helps prepare you. It's a huge venue. So, yeah, I think it can. I don't think that, it defines your season that way, but it definitely can give you a push heading into the playoff run for sure. They're big games. As a team, you want to know how to win big games, win close games. So all those experiences can definitely help you move forward.
Colin, go ahead.
Yeah, hey coach. So we spoke to Sam Colangelo after the game yesterday, and he was talking about how himself and other freshmen, sophomores haven't played in the Beanpot environment before because of last year. Is there any way, in your experience, to prepare your younger guys for this moment, going into the Garden, playing a huge game like this?
Yeah, I think they can get a lot of information from the players that have played in it before, talking to their teammates, asking them how they prepare for it, what it's like, what their experience was like when they were a freshman or, playing in it for the first time. As a coach, you want to go in there, the magnitude of the game. But at the same time, you want to go in there just like any other game where you're prepared. You kind of stick to your routine, go in there, with confidence because you're prepared for the game, just like any other game on a Friday, Saturday night. But I think it really, until you step on the ice, that as an individual, that's when it kind of hits you and you got to settle into the game. And that's something that we will talk about is, keeping your game simple early on, settle yourself into the game, get your feet underneath you, make some smart decisions with the puck. And then after you get a few shifts in under you, it's kind of, you're playing hockey just like you have your whole life.
Chelsea, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Your team fell to BC back in October. What have you seen of the Eagles recently? And then also just how has your team improved since then?
Yeah, different teams. I think it was a while ago. BC's a good team. They're really good in transition. They've got a lot of skill. If you don't manage the puck against them, they can make you pay. They've got a lot of skill in the power play. They're a dangerous team, just like they always have been. So we've got to make sure that we stick to our identity as a hockey team, and we've got to check well. We've got to make sure that we're managing pucks smart. I don't put a lot of stock into the game early on in the season when we played them. I guess I look more at where we are now as a team. And the same thing for them. They're a different team now too. So we got to go in there with confidence, knowing that if we play the right way and we play the way we need to, then, we'll have a chance to have success Monday night.
Tom, go ahead.
Thanks. Jerry, Jim Madigan was just on with us a few moments ago. Two-part question on his induction to the Hall of Fame, really. First of all, he said it's kind of a lifetime of work that he's getting honored for, but you look at what he's built. Even when he was in the NHL, right? He was always such a big ally for Northeastern, and it's always meant so much to him. But now this group that you with him were able to build and get them, into the championship of the Beanpot and to win the championship now 3 in a row. Can you just talk about the impact he has had on Northeastern and the Beanpot?
Well, the one thing I'll say about Coach Madigan is I knew how important winning the Beanpot was to him. And not for him. It was all about the school. It was all about the players. And it meant the world to him to see in 2018 that the university, the leadership, the student fans, the alumni, and obviously our players had that opportunity to win the Beanpot. It meant everything to him. And to be next to him and experience that with him, I'll never forget it. It was just such a big moment for him. I think, once you got the first one, it probably changed a little bit where, okay, now the pressure's off. We're going to go in and obviously we're going to try to win this thing again, but the pressure was off. And I felt like him just getting that first one, he was wearing it for everybody, I felt like. And I was just really proud of him. It meant so much to him. And if there was anyone that was going to get that done, it was Jim Madigan. So.
And a follow-up on that, when David Quinn took over for Jack Parker, he used to say he hated seeing Jack because Jack looked so good and so healthy mid-season. And Dave said it kind of made me realize what a grind being the head coach is. Is it strange to see Jim now mid-season, getting ready for the Beanpot? I know he's all invested as part of the university, but is it kind of strange to see him looking as relaxed as maybe he does now because he's not in the mid-season?
Yeah. We talk after games. I saw him after the game last night, and, he kind of chuckled at me a little bit like, that was fun, wasn't it? Kind of in a facetious way, but yeah, he listen, it's a different role for him, but he's, everything about Northeastern and the athletic department, he takes so much pride in. So I'm sure he's up there during games, and he's probably feeling the pressure that I'm feeling, and he's feeling it for me because he's been there. So yeah, I guess he's able to probably sleep a little bit better at night, like he says. But knowing him, he's still so vested in it, and he wants to see the program do well. He wants to see everyone here at Northeastern do well.
Thanks.
Amelia, go ahead.
So kind of going off of that question, now that you're stepping into Jim Madigan's old role as the head coach, what sort of elements would you like to carry on from working with him as him being like a leader, a mentor to those college athletes?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've learned a lot from him. I worked alongside with Jim for 10 years, and he's taught me a lot. And it's not just about hockey or X's and O's or anything like that. It's really about developing young men. And he's been a tremendous mentor that way. And we've always talked about, and this is something that meant a lot to him, was just, how proud we were of the type of young men that we had. And not only just what they did on the ice, having success, but how they were as human beings and doing well in the classroom, the community. And we always wanted the university to be really proud of the hockey team and in every way possible, not just on the ice. And that was something that, I took from Coach Madigan, just how important it was to recruit the right players and surround yourself around the right people and develop a great culture. That's something that we're really proud of here. And that's something that I learned a lot from Jim.
Richard, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, this is not an overly serious question, but with all four teams contributing to the Olympic teams, when Canada plays the U.S. on February 11th, will that be the Beijing Beanpot?
That's a great question, or a great comment, I should say. Yeah, there's some good players over there, and from the four schools, but there's a lot of really good players playing in the Beanpot right now. So the guys, I think the other coaches will tell you the same thing. We're just as excited, if not more, to be back playing in this Beanpot. We all missed it. The players, the coaches, the families. You name it. We're just really excited to get back to the Boston Garden and have an opportunity and let the players compete again this year.
Guys tilting a little Canada with Devin on that side?
Can you repeat that question again?
No, I said, are the Huskies kind of tilting towards Canada with Devin on that side?
No comment.
Okay.
Any other questions for head coach Jerry Keefe? Tom, go ahead.
Hey, Jerry, you talked about it before, but can you just talk about, TJ getting the win last night and you guys wanted to get that win before the Beanpot, obviously, but nice for him to get the experience, the win, and kind of get all that before Monday.
It was huge, DC, absolutely. And he played really well last weekend against Lowell. And we ended up losing the game 2-1, but he played excellent in that game. And, for him to get that first W was important for him. It was important for our guys. And it was a tough game. He had to play really well in the first period. We didn't play well in the first period. And he gave ourselves a chance to settle in and come out and be better in the second. And, it was a close game. They ended up scoring 2 goals late. So he was in a tight game, had to be really good for us. And, just getting that first win, I think, was really good for his confidence. And again, for our team too, knowing that he could go in there and do the job for us heading into Monday night.
And just follow up, you mentioned the score. The first period's kind of been an issue, right? Getting the scoring going early. You got outshot again last night in the first period. Then you get it rolling. Has that been something you've been trying to work on? Obviously, is that a point of emphasis?
Yeah, last night was a little bit different. I thought Vermont did an excellent job of scouting us, and they came in with a plan, and they stuck to it. And to be honest, it was something that it wasn't a case that we weren't ready. I just think that we needed to make a few changes that we were able to make after the first period, and I thought that helped us moving forward the rest of the game. And we definitely, but to your point, though, going into the Beanpot, you talk about a lot of times in the early parts of games, you're not going to win the game, in the first 5 minutes, 15 minutes, but you can definitely lose the game. So getting off to a good start is going to be really, really crucial for us against BC.
Andrew, go ahead.
So you were Jim's top lieutenant, so this isn't your first Beanpot, but it's your first Beanpot as head coach. Here you are talking to us, and normally this isn't a responsibility yet to deal with. What's the approach? How much different is the approach as head coach?
To be honest, not a lot. I know what to expect just being around the Beanpot for 10 years. Nothing's going to change from my standpoint. It's another game. Again, it's getting our guys prepared today, through video, and tomorrow we'll be on the ice for practice, getting ready to, have a game plan going into the game against BC. And then again, it's more just making sure that your players are ready. They're feeling confident going into that game. And when the puck drops, you're into the game and making sure that, you're giving yourself and the team the best opportunity to win the hockey game. I guess I'm not looking at it too differently just because I've been behind the bench for 10 of these or 9 of these, I should say, already. So I'm excited. But again, I think and Jim would tell you the same thing. The Beanpot it is about the players. It really is. You want them to experience, having the opportunity to win the Beanpot. It's that simple. It is all about your players. Even as an assistant coach, when we won the Beanpot, I'm not sure that I really enjoyed it, to be honest with you. From an individual standpoint, it was just seeing them win the Beanpot and seeing how excited they were to do it. So I'm looking forward to it, just like I always have. It's an exciting time of year. February is an awesome time to be a Northeastern Husky hockey player here. We've talked about that. There's a lot of big games this month, and starting Monday night, moving forward the rest of the month, all these games are huge for us.
Got time for 1 or 2 more questions. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach. Since he came back, Sam Colangelo's been really firing for you. What have you seen from him, confidence-wise, and have you seen anything different from him on the ice that's leading to this output?
Yeah, really happy with Sam's game right now. He's confident for sure. He's getting rewarded for some of the plays that he's making. He's on the score sheet. He's competing his butt off. He's staying in the fight. I like how he's playing. His small area hockey is better. He's getting to the areas a little bit quicker. He's staying on pucks. I like the way he's playing in his own end, his back check. Sam Colangelo is a heck of a hockey player, and I think sometimes people forget that he just didn't play a lot of hockey last year, and he got injured. He was going pretty well early in the season. He got injured, and then since he's come back, he's the player that we knew we were getting. So we're excited about him moving forward. I still think there's a lot more there with his game.
Richard, go ahead.
Coach, you haven't seen Boston College since October. And you got 3 games with them coming up. Just kind of give us a quick scout on them a little bit. Just
Yep.
What you're expecting.
Yep. I expect a really hungry team. Obviously, the Beanpot's going to bring the best out of BC. It will out of all four teams. Again, really good in transition. They're dangerous. They've got, I know they're missing a few players at the Olympics, but they've got some really high-end forwards that are probably getting more ice time now that some guys are missing, and they're really good players. Their D are really mobile. They're good on the power play. They're dangerous on the power play. You have to manage the puck well against them. They've got great team speed, and they will thrive off of your turnovers. So just being smart with the puck and making sure that we're good in the middle of the rink, and we have that check first mindset going in against them is going to be critical.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Last year was a huge disappointment for everyone. Not even the players, the staff, and the whole Northeastern community. And it's great, because it's a school-wide event. It's not just a hockey event. And we have a bunch of students come out, and it means a ton to us and the whole Northeastern community. So it was a huge bummer and really excited, especially as a Massachusetts kid, to play in the Beanpot. It's always really special. And in terms of Devin, Devin's been fantastic for us all year. It goes unspoken how important he is to our team. But TJ's been great. Last night he got his first win, and we were all really happy for him. So we have full confidence in TJ and his abilities, and we've seen it all year in practice. So really excited all around.
Richard, go ahead.
Losing the tournament last year notwithstanding, Northeastern has won the last three. And my question is the prevailing attitude in the locker room among the team is that you're the defending champions and the Beanpot runs down Huntington Avenue?
Yeah, definitely. It's I guess you could say it's a little more pressure. I don't really believe that the guys are gonna be holding their sticks any tighter because of it. But there's pride around here in our ability to win the past three Beanpots, and it just speaks to our program and how well it's done recently, and our coaching staff, and how well they've done turning Northeastern into the program that it is today. So we're all really excited and looking forward to hold that trophy up again, hopefully.
Amelia, go ahead.
So Jim Madigan was just talking about you coming up in the program throughout the past few years as a leader. So what have you taken from him as a leader into your own performance? And is there anything specific that you remember that he would do or say as a coach to get the team motivated?
There's so many good stories of Coach Madigan and just his energy and his excitement. And, he has that fire on the bench. All of our coaches kind of do it. And just like their will to win, like there's nothing better than winning. And you saw that every night in Coach Madigan and all of our coaches today. So just kind of that everyday, business aspect, come to the rink and wanting to get better, preparation. We were always prepared, right, for games and practice. And it was always just, the next day, we're going to focus on the next day. We're going to do great at what we do today. Then we'll move forward from there. So I've learned a lot from him. I've learned a lot from all the leaders who have come before me, but kind of just that everyday mentality, that preparation, that will to win.
Tom, go ahead.
Thanks. Hey, Jordan. Yeah, for a local kid to score the game-winning goal in the Beanpot, the overtime goal in the Beanpot, is obviously something that I'm sure you only dream about, right? And I'm sure you heard from a million people. But the timing of that Beanpot, the world kind of shut down a few weeks later, right? It kind of stands in my mind as one of the last big events we had before the pandemic. Because of that, did that championship take on a life of its own in ways? Did you hear from a lot of people? Nesson probably showed it twice as many times as we would because there wasn't a Beanpot last year. Have you seen that game and that goal a lot more than maybe you normally would?
Yeah, like you kind of said, the circumstances were what they were, is like overtime, game winning, and looking back now, like you said, it was kind of the last big thing. Like we didn't have a chance for hockey's playoffs. And our season shut down pretty unexpected, but especially being a little kid, like all the text messages and stuff and all the things on Twitter, and that meant a lot. And in the moment, you don't really realize kind of what's going on. You're just I mean, honestly, I was just so tired in the moment and happy to win and happy for our team and everything. But we watched the game a lot as like a room, like we turned on YouTube or something, me and my roommates, and we definitely enjoyed it as a team. So it was, looking back, it was kind of good timing, and we definitely revisited it a few times on the TV afterwards. Yeah.
And just to follow up real quick, as a local kid, do you remember kind of when you became aware of the Beanpot? Or was it always something you knew about? Or was there a time as a kid, do you remember your first Beanpot that you really paid attention to, anything like that?
That's a good question. I remember just my mom always being like, the Beanpot, and I was a little kid. Like, we used to go to, Merrimack games, UNH games. We go to the Beanpot here and there, and as a kid, you just like to play hockey. Like, I never used to watch hockey really that seriously. I turn on the Bruins, but it doesn't really sink in, how much it means or how much how important it is to the local hockey community until you play in it. And as I got older, and I was supposed to come on my official visit actually to the Beanpot, and I wasn't able to make it before I came to school. And then kind of once you play in it and you're a part of it, you realize, just how much it means to Massachusetts kids, younger kids, Northeastern community, and just how special a moment it is to play at the Garden. So that really stood out to me once I was a part of it and looked around. You see all the kids and their local youth sports jackets and wanting to get their pucks signed and everything like that. So it was really special, and cherish it, every chance I can get to be a part of it.
Thanks. Chelsea, did you have another one?
Sorry, no, I forgot to lower my hand. Sorry about that.
Any other questions for Captain Jordan Harris? Andrew, go ahead.
Hey, Jordan. With each one of the 4 teams has been affected with kids going on to the Olympics. Does that sort of just reshape and any expectations that you guys have going into this of not only for yourselves but what the other teams might be capable of?
Yeah, that's a good question. We've talked about that a little bit, just players with their team and knowing guys who've gone to Olympics, and it's an interesting year. Teams have lost their goalie. We've lost Devin. I know BU lost Comesso, and Harvard and BC lost some players up front. So it's kind of interesting to how it'll shape out. As of expectations, it doesn't really change in our minds what we have to do. We know what we can do as a team, and the fact that if we play to our game, we can beat anyone out there. So we have full confidence in that. It's not going to change, like you kind of said, our game plans or anything like that. But we've discussed that it'll be interesting to how it plays out. But we have complete confidence in our team.
Josh, go ahead.
Thanks, Brandon. Jordan, you talked about being a local kid already, but just how do you describe just the atmosphere and what it's going to be like on Monday to the guys that might not know?
It's kind of hard to describe till you're out there in the ice with 15,000 people, and but it's just, the only thing you can kind of say is just enjoy it, and it's like a precursor to professional hockey when you're out there at the Garden. But just, you try to say, just enjoy the moment. You only get this chance so much as a college hockey player, and it really is special. So just try to say, out in warm-ups, take a look around, enjoy it. But once the puck drops, everyone will be really focused. And there's kind of no words you can put towards that feeling of playing in the Beanpot.
Any other questions for Jordan? Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, Jordan, getting that win last night, obviously getting some momentum going in after the last few games for you guys. How important is that, not just for the team as a whole, but also, for TJ and goal to get that first win under his belt? Mm-hmm.
That's something we talked about in the locker room, was especially in February, where it's getting later into the season, you momentum's huge. If you can get momentum and confidence, and we've had a couple of struggles in January with a couple losses there. So again, really happy for TJ that he could get that first one under his belt. But as a team, just knowing, we can score when we stick to our game plan. It was a close game, until the third period, it opened up a little bit. But, that's really important for our team just to know if we stick to our game plan, we'll be good. And then that leads right into Monday and hopefully playoffs after that. So it was really important.
Thank you. Good to see everyone. Obviously extremely honored and humbled with the recognition into the Beanpot Hall of Fame. I look at it as my body of work. Certainly, if Jocko was here, he would say, "Hey, I saw you play, Jim." I don't know if you're worthy, but when I look at the body of work, I'm glad to accept the award because of that, in terms of being a player, assistant coach, and a head coach, and with the names that are in the Beanpot Hall of Fame. And I played against a lot of them, and coached against some, and some are obviously before me, but know of their tremendous achievements in as a player, and thrilled and honored to be part of the group.
Open for questions. Go ahead, Richard.
Hey, Jim, how you doing today?
Good seeing you, Rich.
Just talk about, was building this team a partnership with Jerry Keefe, in recruiting? Did he have a lot of responsibilities to building this team that he's now coaching?
Yeah, I might have been riding his coattails. Right from day one, Jerry was the first hire that I was able to make, and a big assist to Tommy Fitzgerald. Tommy who's the general manager of New Jersey Devils, and my daughter is the executive director of hockey ops, working for Tommy now. But I worked with Tommy in Pittsburgh, and Tommy and Jerry were very close. Tommy's dad had coached Jerry in youth hockey. Tommy's younger brother was Jerry's best friend. I knew of Jerry. I had him in hockey camps years earlier. There's a little bit of a difference in age between the two of us, and so I made Jerry the primary focus for our program when I took the job. And Tommy was really good in helping through the process, and Jerry knew me but didn't know me, and Tommy was really good in providing some insight about me. And so together, we knew it was going to take a little bit of time. Jerry told me the first day or early on together, goes, it might take 4 to 5 years. And lo and behold, it was 5 years when we won in 2016, the first Hockey East Championship. So, we've been together since, and, thrilled that he's leading our program obviously right now. And he's just done a tremendous job as assistant, associate head coach, and now early in his tenure as a head coach.
Chelsea, go ahead.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm just curious, what does it mean to you to have the Beanpot back after the COVID cancellation? And then also, NU is after its 4th straight title. Why have they been so dominant against the other 3 Beanpot teams over the years?
Yeah, good seeing you, Chelsea. Thank you for the question. For me, the Beanpot, I've shared this before, such a big part of the fabric of Boston. So for me, it represents a bit of return back to normalcy for this college tournament and back in the Garden. And it's a tournament that, holds a lot of value with the 4 schools, not just the student body and the administration, but the alumni body and the Friends of College Hockey in the city. So it has a foothold in the city, and to be able to return back to playing, I think is just important. And it's obviously a great opportunity for the young men and young women, right? The women will play their championship game on Tuesday, to be part of a tremendous a tournament, an event, and there's nothing like it. On the men's side, this is the 69th tournament, and it's a tournament that has a lot of prestige and cachet to it. So for the student athletes able to participate, and I think it means an awful lot. With regards to your second half of your question, we'd only won 2 in a row once before. We did it 18-19. And then, to go 3 in a row was the first time that the institution ever did it. To do 4 in a row would put us in the same conversation of BU and BC, who have done it 4 and 5 times in a row. So, because of the absence of the Beanpot last year, we have 2 classes who were playing in the Beanpot for the first time. They're excited to win it. Our juniors and seniors have won it. seniors twice. So it would be mean an awful lot to them, first and foremost, in the coaching staff, and now under the leadership of Coach Keefe. And then it always means a lot for the institution, the pride of the institution, our administration, student body, and our alumni body. So a lot at stake.
TC, go ahead.
Thank you, Brandon. Jim, how you doing?
Good seeing you, Tom, as always.
Good seeing you. To just expound on that, you win that first one in 18 with kind of a generational class, right? An incredible group of players there as seniors. To be able to win it again and now two more times. Theo Epstein joke in 07, right? Anybody can win one, but to build something sustainable means so much more. What did it mean to keep that going? And now for Jerry to keep it going, but not for it to be a fluke, right? Not for it to just get it off your back, but to actually become a sustainable group that you've built here.
Yeah, Theo was the guy who broke an 86-year-old jinx, as you know, and for us it was a 30-year jinx. I talked about the tournament and its prestige and cachet, and in this city there are 4 800-pound gorillas in terms comes to hockey, and 2 of them have had a lot of success in this tournament. For us, it would put us in that same conversation. It would elevate the fact that, hey, we can have sustained success. The other thing to remember, Tom, is we probably have the most Massachusetts, and you can do the fact check on this, most Massachusetts young men on our program than any of the other schools. So we've had young men who've grown up going to this tournament at 7, 8, 9, 10 and into their teenage years. And it's important for them to win it also. It's a part of their families because they've gone with dads or moms or siblings. And we pride ourselves on the fact that we have a lot of good local players, and that this tournament means a lot to them. So I think from that lens and that perspective, it perpetuates wanting to have that feeling of winning, and the adrenaline feel that you get with winning the Beanpot is, other than the NCAA tournament, there's nothing else like it. And then, to be quite frank, for Coach Keefe and Coach McLaughlin, Coach Levine, and Coach Condon, it would be great for them. They've all been most of them are part of the last 3, but this would be great for them to cement their opportunity, and couldn't be happier for them if we get that opportunity to win the next 2 Mondays.
Amelia, go ahead.
Hi, I was wondering, since you've stepped into a new role within the athletic department, has that changed your perspective at all on what it means to be a coach, a leader, or how the hockey scene looks in Boston?
I think when you're a head coach of any program at any university, you can pick the sport. I think you have to have certain leadership qualities because you're leading young men or young women, and you're developing them, academically, athletically, socially, emotionally. This is just a larger platform, of course, being the athletic director in terms of leadership and working with all the coaches now. Before I was just working with our assistant coaches and within our respective program. Now I get a chance and an honor to be able to do so, work with all our program, our coaches, and our student athletes. And leadership is leadership. You try and align your actions and your words at the same time, that can have a positive effect on everyone, whether it be the administrators, student athletes, or coaches. And for me, taking a step back, and making sure that Jerry and the staff have the runway to run the program the way they see fit, and we're obviously constant communication, but I don't run the program. That's Jerry's job to run the program. He's the head coach, and I make sure I don't cross that line. But I know this as an administrator now, I'm excited about this time of the year. It still gets my juices flowing. We had to get through last night in a big win last night to reset ourselves a little bit. But hey, I'm excited about Monday night. The phones are ringing again, and people are looking for tickets last minute, and excited for a great atmosphere in the building, excited for our coaches, excited for our student athletes, and excited, as I answered the question earlier, for the people to come back into the Garden and to appreciate the 4 teams and the great play that we're going to see on Monday night.
Richard, I see your hand up again. Did you have another one?
Yeah, one more, Coach. First of all, you'll be seeing the game from the 9th floor instead of the bench this time, so it'll be a little bit of a different perspective for you.
I'm going to see it from the 6th floor in a suite entertaining some alums.
Oh, excuse me.
But I hear what you're saying. I'm only joking, but I hear what you're saying.
No, just you talked about mining your backyard. Just what went into recruiting Jordan Harris, and has he turned into the player that you had hoped when you were having him in your office?
Yeah, we had watched Jordan play a while. Jerry, we took the lead on Jordan, and we'd watched him play, and I watched him play an awful lot too. I remember the last time, just before we made the offer, up at Marlboro Rink, and we're pulled in a back corner, actually in a weight room area that had a view to the ice, and there he was playing. And as I said, we were sitting on him for a little bit. And it's almost like a trade deadline when you just sit on a player and watch him for a period of time, Rich. And we just said, hey, why aren't we, going after this young man? I mean, he's a tremendous player, and we saw a lot of upside. And we knew that he came from a hockey background. His brother played, his dad. I'd watched play earlier, and his dad was a goaltender at Lowell, and we had a lot of assistance from his head coach at Kimball Union, who just spoke, so well about the young man. Then when we got to meet him on the recruiting trip, Rich, you're just a humbled person, quiet disposition and demeanor, but very confident, inner confidence. He's been that and more for our program. He has been a leader since. He came in right away as a freshman and played, 18 to 20 minutes, and he took on a leadership role, as a sophomore, and he's just been tremendous. Him and Ty Madden came in the same class, so we had both different personalities, but both on ice leaders and both great players. Ty obviously left after his sophomore year. He was a forward, and Jordan was a defenseman that led. And Jordan, he's the quintessential person who leads by his actions. He'll speak when he needs to. He doesn't have diarrhea of the mouth, but when he speaks, everyone listens, and you'll follow suit, and his on ice actions are really good. So tremendous young man. He's been a leader on our campus community. He's been a leader on the hockey team, and just look for great things for him, the rest of this season, and then obviously as he moves on to his pro career.
You got time for a couple more. Tom, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Jim, back to the Hall of Fame. Have you, you've built a life in this game and around this game. Have you had a chance to kind of look at some of the names? And is there a moment where, you say, wow, it's something for a kid who grew up as part of all this to now see his name with all these greats who've been part of this tournament?
I have, Tom, and it's interesting because I went home to see my mom and dad in Toronto the day before I found out I was going to be inducted, and I hadn't been home to Toronto just because, as we know, the border issues and whatnot. And I told them, and they were happy. My dad kind of joked a little bit. Then we popped open the Hall of Fame members, and I start going and reading them off, and he goes, "And you're in the Hall of Fame?" And it was obviously tongue in cheek, right? But I go, "Yeah, that's for the body of work, not for just the playing." And that's why I'm honored and certainly humbled. It starts with alphabetically, and Tony Monty is, I don't know if he's the first one, but he's in the first just because of his last name. The first one that I recognize right away. And I know Tony well, and his cousin was a captain of our hockey team at Northeastern, Glenn Giovanucci, and we tried to recruit Tony, and I knew Tony's whole family, and I know what a great player Tony was as a collegian as well as a pro. So, and then I go through it and I see some of the Northeastern names, right? And David Poyle, who's a good friend, and obviously has done a tremendous job in our game and has been a leader, not just as a general manager, but as a visionary for our sport. And, and go through all the other Northeastern names and Racines and the Isbisters and O'Briens. And I go, wow, it's, as I said, humbling. And I go in, as I said earlier, with the body of work and being able to contribute in the coaching and in the playing areas, and certainly not in one area. And I've been fortunate, Tom, to have great teammates, great players to coach, and great assistant coaches, associate coaches. And we talked about Jerry and others who have provided me this wonderful opportunity, afforded me the opportunity.